All right, let's dive into a story that really gets you thinking. We're talking about a pristine, ancient jungle, a place called the Verdant Expanse. And this isn't just any jungle. It's a world with its own ancient laws, a perfectly balanced ecosystem that's right on the edge of total disaster.
And wow, the way our source material kicks things off, it just paints this incredible picture. It says the canopy was a masterclass in the beauty of life. I mean, come on, that tells you everything, right? This wasn't just some patch of trees. It was a living, breathing work of art, this beautiful symphony of life.
So, before we get to the part where everything goes wrong, we really need to understand what was at stake. We need to explore what's called the emerald harmony, this incredibly delicate, intricate balance that made the whole place tick. Okay, so at the very heart of all this piece, you had the Council of the Canopy. Think of them as the guardians of this world. You've got Alara, the wise old elephant matriarch. Then there's Shadow, the panther, kind of the king of predators who keeps order. You have Kayel, the super smart leader of the monkeys, and Thorn, this massive but totally peaceful rhino. And the key thing here? They weren't kings or queens. They were just keepers of the balance. And wow, what a balance it was. I mean, get this. Life and death? They were just part of a cycle that everyone respected. Predators didn't hunt for fun, They only took the old and the sick, which actually made the herds stronger. And everyone, absolutely everyone, shared the Great Azure River, the lifeblood of the whole place. It wasn't some lazy paradise. It was a world built on perfect, harmonious order. I mean, just try to picture it for a second. Can you imagine the air? Smelling like blooming orchids, damp earth, maybe some ripening mangoes? It was this totally immersive, thriving world. The kind of place that feels like it's been there forever and will be there forever. But yeah, it wasn't going to last. The first warning sign, the thing that signaled doom, it wasn't a sound. It was a smell. Something harsh, acrid. Like burning diesel and cold metal. A totally invasive, unnatural scent that just screamed, "This is the end of everything you know." And that smell, well, it brought in a whole new era. They call it the Age of Suffering, because with that smell came heavily armed poachers, and they plunged this peaceful jungle into absolute terror. And let's be clear, this was not a fair fight. Not even close. The poachers brought in technology that the animals just couldn't even understand. We're talking cruel steel snares, deep pit traps, these massive, almost invisible nets, and of course, those long black sticks that spit fire and thunder, rifles. The impact was, well, it was immediate and it was absolute. That symphony of the forest we talked about, it just died. Gone. Replaced by this suffocating, terrified silence. The whole spirit of the place was just broken. And this suffering, it touched every single family. Kale's entire monkey troop, captured and thrown in crates. Thorn, the gentle giant rhino, wounded in a raid. Even Shadow, the king of predators, almost lost a paw in one of those steel traps. And the river, the Azure River, it was running brown, slick with oil, poisoned. But out of all that suffering, something new started to grow. That paralyzing fear, it was being hammered and forged into something much, much sharper. Pure rage. The Council of the Canopy met again, but this time, it wasn't for peace. It was a council of war. And it was Alara, the matriarch, who just nailed the heart of the problem. She said, "We are dying in the shadows. They do not hunt to eat. They hunt to destroy." And that's it, right there. This wasn't the natural cycle anymore. This was an enemy that hunted for pure destruction. And this really breaks the whole conflict down, doesn't it? You have the jungle's law on one side. Predators hunt the old and sick to keep everyone strong. It's about balance. And then you have the hunter's law. They hunt to destroy. They take our children. It's just chaos versus order. And this is where Shadow, the panther, has this moment of pure strategic genius. He says, "We know the shadows, we know the roots, the rivers, and the wind. They are strangers here." He realized they couldn't fight the poachers' tech head-on. No way. The key was to use what they had, their home field advantage.
to turn the jungle itself into a weapon and break not just their machines, but their spirit. And folks, this is the turning point. This is where the jungle fights back. And we're not talking about some random, desperate attack. Oh no. This was a meticulously planned, multi-stage military operation. The plan was absolutely brilliant. They broke their forces into 4 distinct units, each playing to their natural strengths. First, you had the saboteurs, then the air cavalry, followed by the heavy infantry, and finally, the shadow stalkers. This was organized resistance.
Okay, stage 1. It all kicks off at midnight, and the goal here isn't a big, flashy fight. Nope, this is classic guerrilla warfare 101. Take away the enemy's biggest advantage, their technology, before they even know what's happening. So, Kyle's monkeys, along with an army of rodents, they just swarm the camp. They're unlatching cages, freeing their own. They're chewing through generator wires, plunging the whole place into darkness. They're disabling vehicles, stealing keys, and chucking them into the river. Within minutes, the poachers are blind, they're stranded, and they are completely trapped. All right, the camp is crippled, and the poachers are in total chaos. Time for stage 2. The goal now? Complete and total sensory overload. Create so much confusion that they can't even think straight, let alone fight back. And then the sky just falls on them. A massive swarm of nocturnal birds creates this deafening chaos. Wasps and hornets get dropped right on their command tent. The poachers, they just drop their weapons, swatting blindly in the dark, at 1,000 things they can't even see. It's pure panic. So now the enemy is confused, they're panicked, they're vulnerable. It's time for stage 3, time to bring in the heavy infantry. And again, notice the strategy. The overwhelming force isn't aimed at the men. It's aimed at their equipment, their infrastructure. Alara leads the charge. The elephants crash through barricades. They're literally flipping transport trucks over like toys. And Thorn the rhino, in this perfect moment of poetic justice, he just collapses the armory tent, burying all their weapons. Their means of escape? Gone. Their means of fighting back? Buried. So their machines are broken, their weapons are gone. What do the poachers do? They run, and they make the one mistake you should never make. They run into the jungle. And that brings us to the final, absolutely terrifying stage of the plan, pure psychological warfare.
And this, to me, is the most brilliant part. The predators, they don't kill a single person. They take the moral high ground. Instead, they use roars, shadows, near-miss attacks to create absolute terror. Pythons coil around their legs and drag them through the mud. Venomous snakes appear, not to bite, but to herd them. The jungle itself becomes this terrifying maze, and it funnels the panicked men right back where they started, into their own ruined camp.
By the time the sun came up, it was over. The battle was won. But this wasn't about a victory party. This was about something much deeper. This was about reclaiming their home. And this is the moment. The poacher leader, he's standing there in his wrecked camp, and he looks out at this silent, organized army of animals surrounding him. And he finally gets it. He realizes this wasn't just a collection of dumb beasts. This was a sovereign nation defending its borders. He hadn't just invaded a jungle. He had invaded a country. And then Alara, the matriarch, delivers the final sentence. No violence. She just takes one thunderous step forward and lets out this roar that literally vibrates the air. And the message, the command, was unmistakable. Leave. And that was it. The poachers broke. They ran and didn't look back. So the jungle healed. The green returned. But things were never quite the same. This crisis, this war, it forged a whole new reality. The Council of the Canopy wasn't just some casual meeting of elders anymore. It was now a permanent alliance. The animals were no longer just neighbors. They were citizens of a unified nation. And that's where the story leaves us, with this really powerful question. The Verdant Expanse fought for its borders, for its very existence. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? What does it truly mean to defend a home? Whether that home is a jungle, a community, or an entire country.